Okay, so today we're going to play Mono Red Aggro and Pioneer. This is something that I play pretty regularly, so it's not really a surprise to see me playing this. This is a very different list than the one that I'm used to playing. Um, Last time I played this list, we were playing Swiss Spears, and we had only Chandras on the top end. The sideboard was also wildly different the last time we played this. But the things that I like that we've added here, we've added Cemetery Gatekeeper, which I think is pretty sweet because it really gives that the I get like the Eidolon effect. Like, I don't want to call it taxing, but I guess like the prison kind of effect, where it's like if you're forced to play anything, do anything, like then Gatekeeper is just really good. Ferocidon, Bonecrusher Giant, and Chainwhirler all in the main, so this is like a really sweet deck. We're also playing 4 copies at the end of the Bugbear, which I like. The sideboard is pretty interesting. 4 Scab-Clan Berserkers is awesome. I like that we're just like playing as many taxing effects as we can. The 4 Searing Bloods will be good in certain matchups. The 4 Lava Coils will also be good in certain matchups, and then the 3 Roiling Vortex is another kind of taxing card. So I kind of like the way the list is set up. It is worth noting that the original list I saw had 25 lands in it, and I did cut a land because I wasn't having any of that. I'm not playing 25 lands in a mono red aggro deck. Like, you'd have to seriously, like, I'd have to see something pretty convincing to tell me that it was okay to play 25 lands. Like, the weird part is the 17th was a mountain. Like, the 25th land was a mountain. It wasn't even like a Mutavault or anything. So I don't really know why they're playing 25 lands. What I did was I cut the 25th land and added a 3rd Bonecrusher Giant. 24 lands is plenty in decks like this. A lot of times you end up even flooding out too, so. So I'm pretty excited to play it and see what happens here. I'm also kind of excited because Rocket League's on today, and G2 ended up not making the top 8. But I'm still pretty excited. I think there's like 3 or 4 NA teams in the top 8, so I'm kind of hoping that an NA team takes it. The end of the EU NA era, really? Sorry, I have the Rocket League channel up, and they're talking about how that the EU NA era might be over. Because some of these other regions, they made a real run at the land. I don't know if anybody's a fan of Rocket League, but they did. Like Oceania, South America, they made a pretty serious run at the land. So was pretty excited. I was pretty disappointed that G2 didn't make it to the top 8, but I mean, what can you do? Like, there's only so much you can do about stuff like that. Watch and support your boys when you can. A lot of people have been playing Alchemy. Like, they've been streaming Alchemy, and I've kind of enjoyed seeing what people are putting together. Like, what deck lists there are and, like, what people are playing. I've kind of enjoyed seeing that kind of stuff. Is it going to be one of these days where I'm not going to find games to play? Oh, well, alright. Immediately proven wrong. Let's go. And good luck, opponent. We're also going to have to mulligan to 6. We just can't keep this. Like, there's just too many things that could go wrong here. Oh my god, I just clicked keep on accident. Alright, well, we're on the draw, so hopefully we get lucky here. Peel into some lands was definitely not what I wanted. So Our opponent probably takes our Soul-Scar Mage. Or maybe I was like, yeah, maybe they have something to play next turn, and they want to take our Play with Fire. Oh man. I mean, with 24 lands, finding a second one in 2 lands isn't crazy. I did hit keep on accident, so that was a little unfortunate, but. Alright, I'm going to hold up the Stomp here. You never know, I might actually get to kill something. I now have Swamps. What is this, like Grixis? I mean, obviously it's Grixis, but I'm curious to know Grixis what. Okay. Let's discard a Chainwhirler. So it's Grixis Kroxa? Like, is this like Rakdos Kroxa, but we're just adding blue for something? Wonder what blue's for. Maybe like Stub? I was like, now unfortunately, like, I was like, hopefully we hit another land there, but nothing's guaranteed. We're just going to try and go upstairs with Play with Fire. Scry a land at the top, hopefully. Yep, put that on top. Our opponent takes 2, goes to 11. Hive of the Eye Tyrant, Sulphur Falls, Urborg. Interesting land base. Into Fetid Pools? Okay. I can get down with this. Graveyard Trespasser is a good Magic card. Feels like I was playing like a Rakdos version of this last week. Now they're playing like a Grixis version of this. I'd really like to know what the blue's for. Thought Erasure, maybe? You can't block, buddy. Has Menace. Like, so if you have a removal spell, now would be a good time to play it. Let's play Eidolon here. We will go to 17. Alright, well, our opponent's at 9, and we have an active Rampaging Ferocidon and Eidolon. So, I mean, this feels like we're in a decent spot. Unfortunately, like a sweeper would kind of put us out here. I think Yanni's expertise would be worst case scenario. Extinction event. Name's odd. Okay. Well, we'll attack for 2. Put our opponent to 7. We'll have to go to 15 here to play Ferocidon, but I think stopping them from gaining life will be pretty solid. Cycle Canyon Slough. Canyon Slaw, Canyon Slough. I don't... You know, I played that card for like almost a year when it was in Standard, and I still don't know. Searing Blood doesn't seem great. Scab-Clan Berserker could be good if we're actually able to hit with it. This feels like a Vortex might just be good in this matchup to try and stop them from gaining life. We already have Mizzium Mortars in the main. Chainwhirler felt not great. Maybe Play with Fire. Seems like our worst removal spell here, I guess. I'm really hoping that during this league we get to see the... I really would like to see how good and or bad Cemetery Gatekeeper could be. Because that would be something that would really interest me. Like, the person's list that I found, they were playing Mizzium Mortars. It might be worth it to cut Mizzium Mortars for Lightning Strikes just as extra reach. But I do like the idea that you can overload Mizzium Mortars when you get in a bad spot. Yeah, we'll try this. I live in a world where most of the time you don't want to mulligan against a Thoughtseize deck. Now, granted, we're playing mono red aggro. They might have taken it out against us. Who knows? But sucks we have to take 2 life here to do this, but because if they have a sensor here, then like we're in a pretty tough spot. At least if they have a removal spell, they're forced to actually, like, you know, tax themselves. Doomblade, okay. What I think Doomblade says destroy target non-black, non-artifact creature. I think is what it says, but I'm not sure. Run out Eidolon. And we'll say go. There's probably another removal spell coming here, but target player discards a card to do damage to any target. We'll discard a Mizzium Mortars. Hitting an untapped land for Chandra would be pretty sweet next turn. This feels like we're playing against some weird version of Grixis control. Oh, we'll play our 3rd Eidolon, see what happens. They could be playing counterspells, but I'm not I don't know. I haven't seen one yet, so we'll see. Hello, Fry for Spirits. So Fry specifically for Spirits or Rending Volley does seem pretty good. This was a list that I pulled offline. Ooh, Go Blink. But yeah, I definitely think that's something that could be considered, like, for sure. I'm going to go ahead and add mana and stomp them here, just in case they have like another Go Blank or something. I don't want to lose my Bonecrusher Giant to that, so. But yeah, the idea of playing Rending Volley or Fry for Spirits is pretty solid. And, you know, honestly, I'm not a huge fan of playing for Searing Bloods in the side. Because Searing Blood is one of those cards that can be good against Spirits, but a lot of time isn't. So, yeah, we'll plus to see what we hit here. Yeah, we'll pay for that. It's an extra creature. And then we'll go ahead and run out our Bonecrusher Giant here. He surveilled Graveyard Trespasser into the graveyard last turn, so that puts us in a Feels like we're in a pretty decent spot. Our opponent's missing land drops here. Our Grixis Value Town opponent's just missing lands, and we have an active Planeswalker. Plus a Bonecrusher Giant. I mean, depending on what they do right here, we do anyway. Me too. I assume you're saying me too is in reference to the Searing Blood comment about, like, not liking it in the side, like liking 4 copies of it. Is that what you're talking about? Okay, our opponent hits a 4th land here. That's pretty good. So let's plus here and see what we hit. We hit a Ramunap Ruins. So put our opponent to 12 off that. Put our opponent to 8. I'm gonna run out both my things here. Even if they have a extinction event, we are still left with a Roiling Vortex that we can activate for life gain, and an active Chandra that's about the ultimate. So I mean, feels like we're in a pretty decent. I'm not gonna lie, I would be amazed if we lost this game from this position. Like, they'd have to have a sweeper and then follow it up like with something else. So, all right, not a bad first match. Now, granted, I'm not gonna lie, part of me feels like we kind of got a freebie on the first match, because that looked like Grixis mid-range of some variety. It honestly just kind of felt like they were playing a worse version of the Rakdos Kroxa deck that runs rampant in this format. So, you know, with 24 lands in our deck, I think that our sideboard would better be served if Searing Bloods were 2 copies of Rending Volley, because I personally like Rending Volley over Fry. Not to say that either choice is incorrect in my opinion, but Rending Volley is less mana. So play 2 Rending Volleys and then play 2 Glory Bringers as a top-end helper, because you are playing 24 lands in your deck. So I like the idea of trying something like that. I think I also like the idea of having Lightning Strikes over Mizzium Mortars in the deck. I assume the person who put this list together, their rationale behind playing it that way was the fact that they wanted to be able to sweep up these, like, creature decks that do sometimes run rampant. Like, you can, it's a good way to help clean up. Against a Lurrus deck, this feels pretty solid, especially with our opponent on the mulligan. Lurrus more than likely means they're going to play a creature on turn 1 or 2, and we have a couple of removal spells followed by a Menace Threat and a couple Planeswalkers. So I feel like having 2 Chandras in our hand is also really solid, because it gives me a more aggressive line to just slamming. Well, it gives me a better line to just slam Chandra and minus. It, like, I don't question it as much because I have a second backup in my hand if it dies. I'm going to go upstairs and scry one. We don't want a 3rd Chandra. Like, Chandra's good, but I don't think a 3rd one's what we want. Mizzium Mortars is a good card. But I think, again, depending upon what they do here, we would be in a pretty good spot to be able to hold up Lightning Strike here over Mizzium Mortars. They might have Metallic Rebuke here. We're playing against Azorius Ensoul, and the only thing they've done in the first 3 turns is play a Ghost Fireblade and some land. So It feels like their mulligan was... Did they mulligan? Or did they keep 7? I wasn't really paying attention. Yeah, our opponent's mulligan must have not been very good. Okay. Token, non-artifact. You control becomes a 4/4. Okay. You can turn Ghost Fireblade into a 4/4 here if you want to. We're going to attack for 3. Hopefully there's no stubborn denial in my future here. Okay. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of just waiting for the shoe to drop here. My opponent's like not really doing anything. Okay. Gonna equip the Fireblade here, I assume. Okay. Down goes Chandra. Okay. Yep. Put our opponent to 9, we go to 19. We have a play with fire in case they decide they want to get busy with the Mutavaults. Five lands is quite a few for our opponent here, so they flooded out a little bit. Is this all that glitters? Okay. Yep. Okay, so okay, they didn't have stub. They haven't had stub all game, which I'm not gonna lie is pretty surprising because I'm pretty sure they play a couple copies of it. Yep, we go to 9. We're gonna send in for 3. Okay. You can't block. This has menace. There are apparently a lot of people, like both the people I've played against this morning are did not play when Rampaging Ferocidon was in standard because neither of my opponents has realized that it has menace, so alright, well, they have to be able to get both of my creatures off the battlefield here. Because if they attack, I'm going to block with the Chainwhirler so that I can leave the Eidolons. I want to have the Eidolons effect on the battlefield All right, they go to 2, which means if they don't have, they have to have another removal spell here to be able to, for my Chainwhirler to hit us for 9. Now, if they do, we're dead. Yep. Okay, go to 1. We like to see this. We like to see this. What are we hitting here? Darksteel Citadel. So he gets to play Darksteel Citadel, make this a 2/2, and then you're just dead. Because if you equip the Ghost Fireblade to the Black Staff of Waterdeep, yep, okay, I was like, I'm just going to block, and then I have Chandra that you have to beat. Okay. Alright, well, dude, see, this is even one of those matchups when I'm looking at this and I'm going, is Searing Blood good enough? Because Searing Blood hits, like, Stone Coil Serpent early in the game. Searing Blood hits, I don't know, Searing Blood hits a lot of things, but Searing Blood does not hit a lot of things, too. So, I don't know if we want... Eidolon on the draw is not where we want to be against this deck. And if we're bringing in Searing Bloods, then I'm probably cutting 2 Ferocidons and 2 Torbrans. I don't know. Searing Blood can be really good, but man, when they get a 5/5 or a 7/7 on the field like that, like Searing Blood just doesn't do a lot. Let's try it and see what happens. Now, of note, Rending Volley wouldn't be very good in this spot, and I don't know if I'd bring Glorybringer in this spot either. Wow. So we brought in 8 removal spells, and we don't have a single one in our hand, and our opponent kept 7, so we're going to have to mulligan. Well, I hate keeping a one-lander, but I think that this is probably one of our best best hands we could have here. The triple Lava Coil, like, sets us up pretty well. The fact that they didn't play a creature on turn 1 gives us the opportunity to run out our Soul-Scar Mage, so at least we can have a threat on the field. Ingenious Smith, okay. Ghost Fireblade. Are you going to play said Ghost Fireblade, or are you going to play a Portable Hole and get rid of my Soul-Scar Mage here? A 1/1 Stone Coil Serpent. Alright, let's hit a land, please. Well, 24 lands. I feel like we have a pretty good chance of drawing one. We're going to kill the Stone Coil Serpent here because our opponent can play Ghost Fireblade and equip it. They can only make the Ingenious Smith a 3/3 next turn, and we have 3 Lava Coils in our hand, so I'm not super worried about how we're going to beat the Smith. Okay. Now that's going to be a problem. Now the good news is that we can shrink it down. Our Soul-Scar Mage does give us the ability to shrink the creatures. Land, please. That's a tough scene. We're going to attack for 1 here. Run out Soul-Scar Mage, that way we'll have a blocker. And then next turn we'll have, hopefully we peel into a land next turn so that we can start playing our Lava Coils. Alright, well. Because our opponent here can turn the Springleaf Drum into a 4/4. And then they can equip the Ghost Fireblade to the Springleaf Drum. Yeah, this is... We're up shit creek here. Our mulligan to 6, only having 1 land, has kind of got us. I use Ratchet Bomb for this match post sideboard. Don't know if there is something better. So I'm going to be honest, I didn't even know that Ratchet Bomb was in Pioneer, honestly. But the idea of playing Ratchet Bomb... So, yeah, there's no out of this game. The idea of playing Ratchet Bomb actually seems pretty sweet, though. Especially for this matchup. So I kind of like the idea of having that. I think we're going to leave it the way that it is. We just want to be as reactive as possible. I kind of wish that we had like a Braids or Smash or Smithereens in our sideboard here, but yeah, I'm not going to lie. The idea of playing Ratchet Bomb for this matchup, like almost specifically that or like Mono White Humans or something, like actually seems pretty sweet. I kind of like the idea of doing something like that. All right, well, we can't keep a 1-lander, not on the play. We'll keep this and put Ramunap Ruins on the bottom. I guess I could have put a Mountain back and kept the Ramunap Ruins, but I don't really see there being a huge difference. So from here, I think one of the ways that we're really winning this game is if our Goblin Chainwhirler is allowed to play cleanup pretty aggressively. Ginger Brute. So I'm willing to take 1 from the Ginger Brute here, just off the back of the fact that the Chainwhirler can clean it up. I would rather save my Play with Fire for something that like we can interact with at instant speed. Hopefully my opponent just like plays like a land here and plays like Ingenious Smith and allows us to clean up the board pretty well. Worst case scenario for us here is them playing Ensoul Artifact on the Darksteel Citadel. Yep, we go to 18. I don't think we want a 5th land. We're going to put that on the bottom. Slam a Chainwhirler, say go. Now the fact that this thing has Indestructible means that we need to keep finding bodies we can just throw in front of it. Okay. Well, we can't block here. Like, there's just no, there's no winning line where we're blocking here. Alright, get in for 3. Now the good news is that having 2 Den of the Bugbears does give us a couple of good blocking options if we don't draw into anything. If this is their only threat for the next couple of turns, then the only thing that we're really doing is throwing Chainwhirler in front of... Okay. Throwing Chainwhirler in front of... Oh, that's backbreaking. Double all that glitters is pretty rough for us here. I don't think we can win the game now. Like, if we had had, like, a play with fire in our hand to kill that in response, then I think that there's, like, a chance. But we're going to go to 2 here. We have a, like, we can attack them for 7 next turn. Like, the play with fire is lethal. We just need one more turn. I'm trying to think, is there any way to get out of this? Because we attack for 7, and then we're tapped out. Like, and if, yeah, we needed that play with fire last turn. Because, yeah, because if we attack, we're out of mana, and we can't use the play with fire. And if we attack with the Chainwhirler and put him to 6 and leave the end of the Bugbear back, we're just dead. And we can't block both because they're just going to activate its abilities anyway, so yeah, alright. Well, we ended up playing a close 3 games. Like that game wasn't like completely over. Like there was, if we were in a situation, if we would have had the play with fire a turn earlier for the Ginger Brute when they tapped out for it, I think we win that game. Yeah, I think we ended up winning that game because, wow, 7 lands. Didn't even know that was like, I don't think I've ever drew 7 lands before. We go from 7 to 1. All right, we're on the play. We're gonna try it. Ship the Chandra. Steam Vents, okay. Don't know what our opponent's playing, but we're just going to go upstairs with a play with fire. Put that on top. They probably have like a sensor effect here of some variety. We do get to exile their Flame Blessed Bolt, which is pretty sweet. They're playing Phoenix, it looks like, so... Scries 1 card to the bottom. Plays an island, says go. We don't draw a land, which is pretty disappointing, but... Alright. We can stomp that. And land, please. Alright. Run out Bonecrusher Giant, say go. I mean, they can probably put the Phoenix back into play here, if I had to guess. Like, I don't feel like it's crazy to think that, you know, like, turn 4, like, I mean, they can, yeah, we missed a land drop. I was like, so they have a land here. Okay. Well, they're not going to be playing a removal spell here. They consider to the top. They put a Phoenix into play. Interesting. Run out Ferocidon, say go here. I'm not trading my Bonecrusher Giant for something that they can just get back in a couple turns. Okay. You gonna play Treasure Cruise now for like a couple mana or something? Pieces of the puzzle. Copying Pieces of the Puzzle and Treasure Cruise is pretty solid. Okay. They consider to the top. It's a couple of times they've done that now. Land, please. Okay. Well, we're just going to keep playing our threats here. Well, our Mizzium Mortars will be really good here. Do not want to give them a chance to flip Thane in the ice, because honestly, when they have that opportunity, we're just kind of boned. Like, there's not much we can do about it. Okay. Now they're playing Treasure Cruise. Well, that's the first Treasure Cruise they've seen, so it's not like they're going to run out anytime soon. Really love to hit an untapped land here. Okay. If they block the Chainwhirler, we're just going to play another Chainwhirler. And if they don't, we're going to cast the Mizzium Mortars. I don't think I've ever struggled to find a fourth land in a deck where I'm playing 24 lands this much. Moto's really not being my friend this morning. Oh, wow. That's really good. I'm just dead here now, right? Because they're going to put me to 11. Then they're going to fire up the Bugbear, hit me for 7. I mean, I'm going to make them do it. Okay. I feel like that's a pretty good matchup for us. Like this is a good matchup. Let's see here. Cemetery Gatekeeper and Eidolon are already good as hate spells. Lava Coil is really good. Scab-Clan Berserker does not seem great in this matchup. I don't know that Vortex is good in this matchup either. What cards do not seem great here? Ferocidon seems okay. Chainwhirler doesn't seem that promising, and we'll cut a Torbran. Let's try it like this and see what happens. Down a game to Phoenix where we essentially lost because we got stuck on lands. This hand does not have that problem, so we're going to snap this one off. Our opponent mulligans to 6. I would love to see a Cemetery Gatekeeper and Eidolon in this hand, but we have 3 lands and 4 spells, so we're going to keep. Hopefully we can put enough pressure on early in the game. Attack for 1. Say go. Okay. Gonna attack for 2. So if you're willing to take 2 here, I'm not gonna cast Stomp or anything. We're gonna put Chainwhirler on top. Our opponent's missing lands, so cool. back for 2. I feel like our opponent more than likely has like a, put that on top, play a land. More than likely has an Anger of the Gods in their hand. Yeah, I could be wrong, but feels like there's a high chance that they do. Alright, let's run it out. My opponent might have a removal spell for the, for the Soul-Scar Mage that it's on, but that's fine. We're still getting the Stomp effect. Okay. Okay. Let's minus on this one, and then next turn we can run out both the Chainwhirlers, actually. So, probably ends up... I mean... I highly doubt they'll be able to flip the thing in the ice here, but... Maybe they have Treasure Cruise or some crap. If they do, we're in a pretty bad spot. Wow, their last card was Treasure Cruise. You gotta be shitting me. Is there a little bit of justice in the world? Does my opponent just not have it? Wow. Okay, they drew 3 cards and didn't have it, so... Wow. Okay. I cannot believe we won that game. Yeah, wow. Okay. Well, you take those. Take the ones you can get like that. Let's run it back. Lava Coils and Mizzium Mortars are going to be our best friend here against Thing in the Ice. Alright, there's a lot of inconsistency with this deck today, and it's really, really annoying, because it's one thing that I... What is this trash? Oh, man. It's very frustrating. We keep going from 5 to 7 lands to having, 1 land. What is going on? Alright, well, we drew a second land at least. It's better than we've been doing, so... Alright, let's go upstairs. Yeah, I'm okay with leaving that on top. Okay. We'll put that on bottom. Don't really need the Soul-Scar Mage. It's just a convenient card to have. Well, we want to take the opportunities that we have to keep their board clear. Giving them a chance to flip Thing in the Ice with 4 1-drops next turn is exactly the kind of thing that I'm worried about, so... Okay. So now they're going to have to cast wow, okay. They're copying Consider. Like, cool. That's like way less intimidating than I thought it was going to be. They consider an opt into the yard. And then they consider a card at the top and draw it. Okay. Yep. Kill that. Alright, Torbran as leftovers is not bad. I have to have another Lightning Axe to deal with it. Like, not that it's crazy. Like, they could have another Lightning Axe here, but... Pieces of the puzzle? Oh, okay. Going cruising for a bruising here. You have to pay one more if you're trying to treasure cruise here twice. No, he's just okay with getting rid of his Arclight Phoenix. Alright, well. We will say go. I'm not going to use my Ramunap Ruins here in case they put like multiple threats into play that I need to kill. I'd rather be able to overload Mizzium Mortars. That's a pretty good one. Alright, Jeskai Chainwhirler. Now they can minus and kill my Chainwhirler if they need to here, but... You just gonna cast 4 1-mana spells and flip your thing in the ice here? Alright, well that's 4 Lightning Axes and 30 cards, so good for you, opponent, because it's really one of your only spells that allows you to deal with most of our deck, so... Wow. So not only did our opponent have all 4 treasure cruise or all 4 lightning axes to deal with that were really good cards, they had 4 1-mana spells to play off their Awoken Horror. Like, Jesus. To flip their thing in the ice. I mean, the game's over from there. Like this is way too late to the party. I'm just going to concede here. I'm not even going to take the time to play this one out. Like, our opponent just drew like God, so there was nothing we could do about that. Well, that's back-to-back matchups in a row where our opponents have just kind of had everything. I feel like that's been happening to me a lot lately, where my opponents have just kind of had it all, and there's just, like, nothing I can do about it. All right. Also be nice if we could be on the play once. Well, again, we have the uncertainty of... Yeah, we'll try it. Have the uncertainty of 5 lands here. Thought my opponent skipped through their turn, and I was like, sweet, let's go. Played the end of the Bugbear, said go. We'll play Eidolon next turn, depending on what they, I mean... There's nothing in the graveyard. Scry has one card at the top. Okay, they're playing Giganta. Play Jeskai Ascendancy. Well, I feel like our taxing draw steps here have been actually the hate has been pretty solid here. Cemetery Gatekeeper means anytime they play an instant, they take 2. And Eidolon says anytime you play basically anything in your deck, take 2 again. Attack for 4. Yep. Omnath. They did not hit a land. Okay. Well, that was an interesting game. Scab-Clan Berserker seems pretty good. Vortex feels pretty good. Play with Fire feels like our worst card. Ferocidon seems good. Mizzium Mortars seems like a necessary evil in this matchup. Chainwhirler doesn't seem that great. Like, they don't really play that many creatures. For us, yeah, I don't know. Bonecrusher Giant doesn't seem that great. Let's try it like this, I think. See what happens. We don't want to cut the Soul-Scar Mages because we want something to do in the early game. This hand's solid. We have 2 pieces of hate here, so... Torbran's also not a bad draw step. Gives us something to do in the top end. Considers Jeskai Ascendancy into the yard. Plays a Plains. Yeah, they're looking for lands here, I think. They consider to the top, though. And then they concede. Alright, well, that was weird. Not going to complain. Eidolon and Cemetery Gatekeeper there were pretty awesome. I feel like Eidolon and Cemetery Gatekeeper are honestly really good against they're good against Phoenix. They're good against the Jeskai Ascendancy deck we just played against. They're really good against the Lotusfield deck. I feel like those cards give you just enough hate to be okay. I do think it's worth replacing the Mizzium Mortars with Lightning Strikes, especially after playing 4 games. I definitely think that's worth. And then, the sideboard needs to be changed too. We are playing for the 3-2 here, so... hopefully we end up making a little bit of a play. Wonder how Rocket League's going. Dignitas is playing against Simper Esports right now, and Simper Esports is up 3-2 in the best of 7, so... Oh, we found a match. Let's go. Hey, we get to be on the play for one. Let's go. Ooh, our opponent has a companion. Wonder what it is. Well, our opponent's taking their time. This hand seems good. They're playing Luris, so I think it's solid to have a threat like a sticky threat on turn 1, sticky threat on turn 2. Like we have really good threats against like other Luris decks, and Mizzium Mortars is a really solid removal spell. Ooh, Bonecrusher Courier. That's interesting. Little did they know that Soul-Scar Mage was Stonewall Jackson. Man, and they had to shock to play that? That's gotta feel bad. Okay. I have no idea what our opponent's playing, but I like it. We're going to attack for 3, and then depending on what they do, we're probably just going to play Ferocidon here. Okay. I mean, like, that's fine. Shrapnel Blast? Okay. I would really like to know what my opponent is playing. We're going to leave that on top. Gives us access to Mizzium Mortar, or it gives us access to Den of the Bugbear next turn. Bonecrusher Courier, Shrapnel Blast, Fiery Temper, and now you're paying... Oh my gosh, you're trying to play like some kind of artifact burn deck, like the one that the guy from Goldfish was playing in Modern. All right, let's crash in for 5 here. We'll put our opponent to 5. Yeah, I saw a pretty sweet like red-black like artifact like blood token like burn list that somebody was playing. Yeah. Alright. We're going to play Gatekeeper, and we're going to hit... we're going to exile Fiery Temper, because it's an instant. Yep, hit you for 2. Alright, so we put him back to 5. We attack for 2, put you to 3. And then with 2 power in play and with Den of the Bugbear on the field, I feel like we're in a pretty good spot. Our opponent's discarding lands to, I mean, like that's the thing though, is like those blood tokens are pretty sweet, especially when you flood out like that. Chandra was a pretty good peel off the top. Plus for mana. Cast Mizzium Mortars. Make Soul-Scar Mage lethal by itself. Now my opponent might have Shrapnel Blast here to get rid of my Soul-Scar Mage. That's exactly what they have. We get to attack for 1, and now they have to find a way to beat Den of the Bugbear and my Chandra, so... Okay, this feels like a matchup where Searing Blood's going to be pretty good. I think everything else is just kind of the way we want it. Let's see here. Eidolon does not feel good. I don't like Eidolon on the draw. I do like Gatekeeper because it has first strike, so it blocks pretty well. Vortex doesn't seem worth it. Like, they play some life gain cards, but I think Ferocidon's enough. I don't think Berserker is good enough here. And I don't think Lava Coil is really good enough. So I think we're just going to cut Eidolons on the draw and bring in Searing Bloods. This is the first time all league that I have felt like having 4 Searing Bloods in my deck was good. So... And I'm not going to lie, the more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm kind of liking the Mizzium Mortars in the main. Normally I would think that those should be Lightning Strikes because I do like having the reach from Lightning Strike that it gives. But you do have 8 burn spells already in the deck in the Stomp on Bonecrusher Giant and Play with Fire. So, I don't know. I kind of like Mizzium Mortars. I feel like in against some of the right decks, it'll really help you clean up the board and what you're looking at. So... Wind's really kicking outside. Yeah, we can't keep this. We don't have anything to do in the first 2 turns. This hand's a lot better. We'll keep this and ship a mountain. Like having a couple of removal spells and a sticky threat here, so. If we were going to draw a land, then the Bugbear is a good one to draw, so I can't complain too much about that. Okay. I'm going to attack and see what they do here. Definitely going to kill their Eidolon. No land, please. Dang. Decides to play Vampire's Kiss over the Eidolon there. Okay. I'm definitely not going to say that's wrong. I definitely think it's interesting. Push you to 18. I think Shrapnel Blast is really solid in this deck. Like, 2 mana, deal 5. The only thing that they're missing that they get in Modern that they don't have in this deck is the Galvanic Blast or whatever it's called. So I really like Torbran here, because it really just allows us to get aggressive, and we don't have to take anything off the Eidolon. We have access to Den of the Bugbear next turn, which I'm pretty sure it says is red. Becomes a red creature, so it does deal 5. Whenever you sacrifice a blood token, kills our Torbran, gets in for 3. Okay. Alright, I see you, opponent. That was pretty pretty good. That was a pretty sweet play. We're just going to crash in for 7 here. Because next turn, if we need it, we do have... Can he have that done at instant speed? Yeah, so he can have that turned into a 3/3 at instant speed. Ooh, Alms of the Vein is pretty good. This is a pretty sweet little deck. Like what our opponents put together here, I won't lie. Oh, am I dead? Whoa, I'm dead? All right. Let's go, opponent. I won't lie. I felt like that game was over. I don't know, losing to decks like this in some weird way always kind of makes me happy. I know that's a very weird thing to say. I think Eidolon is better than Gatekeeper on the play. So we're going to bring back in Eidolons on the play. This hand feels pretty good. I kind of wish that one of these Bonecrusher Giants was a play with fire so that we could deal with whatever they do on turn 1. They play a tapped land on turn 1, which is cool. We're just going to go ahead and run out our Eidolon here. Don't really feel like hanging out for the... So basically, our opponent puts us to 18 and stays at 20. I'm also just going to go ahead and run out a Bonecrusher Giant here. Normally, I would like having the Stomp effect better than doing that, but I think that going ahead and putting more pressure onto the field is pretty good. Alright. Well, there's basically no way we're dying next turn. Unlicensed Disintegration is also a really good card. This is a pretty sweet deck. This is definitely just some play off of the deck from Modern that Saffron Olive built, but it's sweet nonetheless. Our opponent did have to innovate a little bit here because they don't get all the cards that you get in Modern. So having 1-mana Boros Charm in the Modern version of this deck is pretty sweet. Our opponent's at 8, facing an Eidolon and a Bonecrusher Giant. So, I mean... Killing the Eidolon here, okay. Then plays Vampire Epicure, sure. Stomp this, attack you for 4. Then we're going to stomp you. Alright. Well, we ended up finishing 3-2 with the deck. It was pretty good. Like, it's the same as like other variations of mono red aggro that I've played, honestly. The only difference is we're playing one more land. which I don't think is bad because basically what you've done is you've just added a 4th Den of the Bugbear. We were only playing 3 last time we played the deck, so I really like the Cemetery Gatekeeper Eidolon Ferocidon, like that whole like punishing red like style of like thing that it's doing. I don't know. I really like that, and I think Vortex and Scab-Clan Berserker just add to that out of the sideboard. This might be my favorite version, the most favorite version of Mono Red I've played in Pioneer to this point. Chandra and Torbran as top end are really good. The one thing I would have to say that I do not like about this deck is the fact that it's playing 4 Searing Bloods in the side. I won't lie, I don't like that at all. I think that should probably be 2 Rending Volleys and a couple of Glory Bringers as top end. Personally, like I just think that's the best situation. That or the other thing you could talk me into is playing a 4th Roiling Vortex and playing 3 Rending Volleys, but I think 2 Glory Bringers is good because I don't think you ever want more than 3 Vortexes in your deck. So, yeah, this has been Mono Red Aggro.